Hello everyone, welcome to another video log of Artica. Today I will be talking to you about the results of the research that we've been doing with speech recognition, trying to integrate it into our framework somehow, mostly aimed at integrating it with the Einstein Videoplayer that we have. So we have a pilot coming up where we needed to do some integration, and I've been doing some research on that. We did a video before where I went through this list that you can see here, where you have all the different listings of the stuff that we found. And I went through each of them and why each one was interesting and which one was not. And then we ended up trying a few of them trying to get something working. And that's what I'm about to show you today. Let me change this into this view. So we tried 3 different solutions. The first one was op.recognize, which is a Java module for Macs itself directly to do speech recognition. It was compiled in Java, obviously, and it uses the Sphinx CMU library. But as you can see, it's quite old. It's from 2010 already, so it's 7 years old. And by the time it was developed, it was for Macs 5, and it was also released on Mac. And we are using Mac 7 now, and we are trying to get this working on Windows. So there are a few issues that arise trying to do that. There are some issues with how the packages are made from Max 5 to Max 7. I managed to resolve those issues, but still had some problems with the Java itself, and I will actually show you trying to work. So you can see it loads this, but when you click load and you select the grammar file you want to recognize, you get an error on the console of Max saying that, that's a bad URL. And I believe this is due to the file system from Mac to Windows. And the only way to solve this, and this is hard-coded into the Java, as far as I know, I'm not a Mac expert. I asked on the Max forums, but no one replied anything, so I don't know, we are pretty much flying blind here. So what I did was I decompiled the code from this package, from op.recognize, and the next step would be to recompile it with the new Java version, new Eclipse, and try to get it working on Windows. But since I hate Java, I realized, okay, maybe let's try to search a few other solutions before we do this recompiling thing. So I searched around NuGet for a C# solution, which a library that would be ready to use, and one I found first was this one called syn.speech. So I gave it a try. I installed it. It was pretty easy to install. I found a demo example very easily, and it worked, but you needed to click a button, then say your sentence, then click to stop saying your sentence, and then it would take like 5, maybe 10 seconds to recognize and give you the output. And it worked. Sometimes it didn't recognize properly, but most of the times it worked. The thing is, we wanted something that we could use real time, not with 5-10 seconds delay. So I decided to search for some other solutions, and a friend of ours actually told us that there was this good solution on Microsoft. So we searched for it, but unfortunately Microsoft is so big that if you search for something like Microsoft speech recognition, you get shit tons of different hits. We found this one, Microsoft Cognitive Services, which apparently, we didn't try it, but apparently it works on the cloud. And for us, cloud is a no-no, because we don't want to be dependent on having internet and a service being running to be able to run our application. So that was off. Then we have a lot of other hits that are completely useless for us. They're just marketing stuff. So yeah, it was pretty hard to find stuff from Microsoft. We ended up finding that they have a robotics SDK platform, which is interesting in itself, but it was too big. We weren't looking for a huge platform. We were looking for something very specific, very lightweight, let's call it that, just a library that works. So we didn't really analyze the robotic platform further, but it might be interesting to check for other projects. We found another solution which was inside the Kinect SDK itself. Apparently they have a speech recognition system there on the library, but we weren't using the Kinect on this project, so we found it was a bit silly to use the entire Kinect framework SDK just to get that small component. So we searched some more, and eventually I found this thread on Stack Overflow talking about something called the Microsoft Speech Recognition Platform. Apparently there is a platform, so I searched for this specific name. These links are already broken, even though this is not that old. It's from, well, actually 2010, so yeah, it's a bit old. But the links are broken. Microsoft has this tendency to break their own links every 5 years or something. But I searched around for that keyword and I found this thing called the Microsoft Speech Platform. Which you can download. You have to download actually multiple components. You have to install the SDK. You have to install the server runtime. Both the x64 and the x86 versions, because even though I compiled for 64 bits, it still looked for the 86 version for some reason, and it would crash. So you would need both versions. And then you would also need language packs, which is this server runtime languages. So you ended up having to do like 4, maybe 6, 7 downloads if you want Portuguese and English version running on your system. But yeah, I documented all of that and I made an example package. It's actually open source, you can find it here. It's on bitbucket.org/artica/Microsoft Speech Recognition OSC test. And the reason the OSC is there is because we use OSC to communicate some stuff. So this example has the demo working, and the demo worked pretty well. You list what words or sentences, small sentences preferably, you want to be recognized, and it recognizes almost instantly. You can even have, I was actually sick when I did the test, so I was talking very like this, very low key, and it still recognized perfectly what I was saying. So it works very well. I was very happy to discover this. Also, a big plus is that you can change the language. You have Portuguese from Portugal, you have Portuguese from Brazil, you have English from Britain, you have English from the US. So this is great for our projects where we need to change stuff for a different client. We can, and he asks, okay, this is very interesting, but I want, Spanish. Okay, we can have Spanish. We just installed that language pack and then it works. So that's very useful for us. So yeah, this was the best solution we found so far. I actually have it loaded here, so you guys can see what it looks like. I just made a simple form. It loads the parameters from an XML file, so you can easily change them. It gives you a little information. Right now it's recognizing Portuguese, and it's recognizing these 4 languages. Eu não via, eu nem ouvia, sentia-me bem, está em ordem. And you can see that it triggered all of them. So it's working pretty good. Sometimes it gives some false positives, but we are okay with false positives because the pilot that we are trying to do is it's sort of a non-linear narrative. So you have a storyline, and at some point you have an interaction moment where if someone says something, the right something, you can go one way, and if he says something wrong, you go the other way, and then the storyline eventually converges again. So that's the overall point. This is the use that we wanted to give you, to give to this small application. And then we needed to interact it with the Macs, because all the video playing is going to happen on Macs. So what we did was we integrated Sharp OSC, which is an OSC library. And we just configure it to send to Macs. I'm going to open Macs. It should be here. This is the help of how to receive UDP packets on Macs. And you see it just triggered, it just showed something popping up here saying that it received something. Yeah, received something again. So these are false positives, but it's receiving messages. Actually, if you go to the console, you can see them popping up here. So it's working every time it's recognizing something, detecting something, it sends the proper message to Max. In this case, we only wanted to say either we trigger option 1 or we trigger option 2. There are several sentences to trigger one or the other. They're all configured on our XML file, and yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Okay. Yeah, I can also show the XML file. I have it open here. So it's very simple. I just have an XML config. I say what culture it is, a message that I send right when the application first launches, just to detect if it's sending something or not, what port it's using. If you're familiar with OSC, you know that you always have to send an address sort of thing, so you can do multicast or separate channels. So we identify it there, what IP it's sending for, in this case it's our own, and then what choices you have, what sentence it recognizes, and the response that it sends via OSC. So very simple, very basic. This is just what we needed for prototyping our pilot. And yeah, so this is how we integrated this version and tested all three. We might go back and analyze the other solutions again. It would be nice to be able to recompile objects for Max directly again. Even though I hate Java, it would be interesting to be able to have that availability. And it would also be interesting to check the robotics platform of Microsoft. It seemed very powerful and useful, and we might be able to use it with our own, because we also do robotic applications. So it might be interesting for that as well. And yeah, that's everything I had to tell you today. Leave your comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you want us to talk about anything in particular, if you ever used any of these technologies. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe and all that jazz. Bye bye. Take care.